This is the updated Audi A3, a compact luxury model available as a sedan or as a hatchback, and in one spec only, thanks to a simplified range, which has seen some price change. So let's talk about it in this review. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell, and let's check it out. Audi has rationalised its model lineup for the A3 in 2025, and I'm just focusing on the regular A3, not the S3, the sporty one, or the RS3, which is hardcore. Hopefully I'll be able to do reviews of those later on. But let's talk about this version here. It's called the 35 TFSI. It's a front-wheel drive petrol hatchback with mild hybrid tech. I'll tell you all the engine stuff that you need to know shortly, but let's go through what you're getting as standard, because you are paying a little bit more for it now, but you are getting the S-Line package at no extra cost these days. You're also getting plenty of other standard equipment, including LED headlights, LED tail lights, 18-inch alloy wheels in graphite grey. There's a space saver spare. You get semi-autonomous parking assist, a power boot lid, standard on the sedan but optional on the Sportback, and proximity entry with keyless entry and push button start. There's also a 10.1-inch touchscreen infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's sat-nav, digital radio, and you also get the virtual cockpit, which is the 12.3-inch digital cluster for the driver. There's wireless phone charging, a 10-speaker sound system, cloth and leatherette upholstery, which is a bit different to before, heated front seats and power driver's seat adjustment, and a few extra features beyond that. But I'd like to know whether you think that the A3, at the kind of money that's being asked now, still represents good value, when I've got some really good alternatives that you might want to consider if you're not looking to spend quite this much. First, let's talk about a luxury alternative. The BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe is a lovely little thing. Just like the 1 Series hatch, it's fun to drive. There's a couple of different versions to choose from, and it does start at a reasonable price point. So it could be a great choice for you if you are looking for a luxury vehicle, and well, it's got the 2 Series Grand Coupe as a sedan style model, or the 1 Series hatch if that's what you're after. If you are after a sporty looking sedan, you don't want to spend quite this much, the Hyundai i30 sedan N-Line could be a great choice. I think it's really good looking and pretty good to drive as well. In fact, I think it's probably the pick of the i30 range in Australia, so it could be worth a look. And hey, if you are hatchback hunting, I reckon you should go and check out the Cupra Leon. It's just about to be updated with a facelifted model, but the existing ones, we can get them for pretty good pricing at this point in time. There's a fair few different versions available as well, and I think it looks fantastic on the outside and is pretty lovely on the inside too. Would you pick any of those or something else? Let me know in the comments. As I mentioned, you now get the S-Line package as standard for the A3 lineup. So it looks a little sportier than the existing base model, and I reckon it still looks really bloody good. I've always liked this generation of A3, particularly the sedan. I think it's one of the best proportioned small sedans on the market. And speaking of the size, well, it is a relatively decent size of vehicle. Obviously the hatchback is a bit shorter, but they are on the same wheelbase, and they're both relatively compact when it comes to the width and the height. Now let's have a look at the rear end. As you can see, it does have the red rhombus finish on the back to signify it's an S-Line model, and well, nice white ring badge now as well. Okay, let's have a look in the boot and see how much space there is to play with. It's not an electric boot, it's kind of a semi-electric, but there is plenty of room in there. It does have a big boot space. There's plenty of room in there. You do have some pull tabs to drop down those seats if you need to. There is a load through port as well. There's a 12-volt charger in there and a little storage caddy on the side. And underneath the boot floor, you'll still find a spare wheel, which is a bloody bonus in a car of this size. In the modern day era, spare wheels are becoming rarer and rarer. I like that this one has one. Let's check out the interior and see what it's like. Does the interior of this updated Audi A3 feel dramatically different? No. Did it need to? No, I don't think it did. And in fact, I like the interior design of Audis. You might have heard me say that before, because I think it's just simple but still elegant. And that's one of the things I really find attractive about a new car. And look, you've got this digital instrument cluster here. It's called Virtual Cockpit. It has a few different modes so you can adjust the display if you want to. And look, It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but the controls thankfully are very simple. They're on the steering wheel there. The controls for the cruise control, maybe not as simple. It's down there on a stalk. You've also got a control up there to turn on or off your lane keeping assistance, depending on whether you want it on or off. There are paddle shifters too. There's a volume dial here. Thankfully, none of these are piano black and none of them are touch sensitive. So that's all great. Your light controls are over there, and you've got this central touchscreen media system, which is pretty simple to get your head around as well, especially if you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I haven't had any issues with it so far on this loan. Thankfully, I have in the past in other Audis. But look, it's a new system with some new controls. There's a lot of consent stuff you have to do with this system. It's quite annoying. Maybe it's different once you've set up a profile. I haven't done that for this loan. I've just sort of kept it simple. And yeah, look, there's plenty of different menus available here. It does have connected services. It's got that as well. And it's got weather, so you can keep an eye on the weather and see what the weather's going to do. If you really want to, you can just ask your phone and it will be able to tell you as well. As you can see, it takes a little while to load sometimes with these connected services. There we go. And look, at least you've got it if you want it. And this system will take a little bit of getting used to, but honestly, I've found it pretty easy to get my head around. There's car controls on screen as well if you want to have a look at some of those menus. Yeah, that's all great to see. There's a drop-down menu system as well for some quick adjustments. And thankfully, I will say one thing that I really do like about this car is it's got regular controls for your air conditioning. So if I just turn the air conditioning on, you can see there it's dual zone climate. There's a fan toggle switch. There's temperature switches. You can adjust it individually if you want to. You've got recirc controls, seat heating buttons for both front seats. Yep, that's standard now as well. And your demisters are there too. And down below, there's another set of buttons as well. So you've got your safety assist systems screen. So if you press that button, it'll take you onto the safety systems screen and turn some of those things off if you don't want them on. And you've also got your semi-autonomous parking system there. Your park view camera is there. No surround view camera on the A3 at all. I don't think that's a big deal. It's a reasonably small car. And yeah, you've got some nice features down there. Thankfully, all at a quick touch. USB-C ports, a wireless phone charger, a dainty little toggle for your gear selection. You've also got a volume scrolly dial thing. That's the only touch sensitive thing in here, and it's maybe not as good as it could be as a regular dial. And your start button is right there. Electronic park brake, cup holders, a little storage thing, a small storage thing between the seats as well with a soft armrest. And speaking of soft, these seats are pretty good. They're a sportier seat than normal. They're the S-Line seat. They're still very comfy and they've got some interesting design to them. Look, they're not necessarily the most luxury feeling thing, I would say, for people who are used to luxury being leather. That might take a little bit of getting used to. But you do still get some nice trim finishes on the dashboard. The vents are a nice design. And generally, I think the interior is a nice design too. Right, let's check out the back seat space. Okay, so it is a small car and it feels pretty small in the back, I've got to say. This seat is set for my driving position. I'm 6 foot tall. And look, I've got a little bit of knee room in front of my knees thanks to the scalloping in the seat back. Foot room is a little tight, but I can still fit them underneath. And headroom is not too bad either. I mean, if you're thinking this is going to be the perfect car for a growing family, probably not. But still, there's some good amenities in here. There's a set of vents down there, as you can see. You've also got a climate adjuster. So, well, it's not like proper climate control, but you can adjust whether it's cool or warm air. USB-C ports, a massive transmission tunnel intrusion there. So it will be better as a four-seater. If you're using it with kiddos in the back, you'll notice that there are ISOFIX points in the window seats. There are 3 top tethers as well in the sedan and the hatchback, and you get a flip-down armrest with a set of cup holders, and that seat section does fold forward if you need it for extra space. There are mat pockets on both seat backs. You've got decent sized bottle holders in the doors, and look, it's maybe a little bit plasticky feeling in the back, but at least you get soft. And like I said, it's not the biggest back seat, but it's not the biggest car either. The Audi A3 range is now powered exclusively by a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine with 48-volt mild hybrid technology. I'll tell you what that means for the drive experience in a sec, but it also comes as standard with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, and it is front-wheel drive only. No Quattro version available for this updated model range. But still, 110 kilowatts, 250 newton meters, and it's relatively speedy. Let's go drive it, and I'll show you. All right, so what is this A3 like to drive? Well, I've been spending a bit of time with it over the last week or so, and I have to say, I like it. I think it's a very easy, small luxury car to live with. It doesn't actually require you to rethink the way you do things, which is great. Lots of modern cars seem to think that they, well, dictate how things should be done. This car is not like that. It's very, very easy to get along with. It's nice to drive, but it's not perfect. There are some things that I wish were a bit better about it. One of them is the road noise intrusion. It can be really loud on rough surfaced roads. So if you live in a place where that is a common occurrence, I suggest you drive on those roads on the test drive and see if you can deal with it, because it can be pretty deafening at times. And there's also a fair bit of noise from the engine as well, but I think that that is forgivable considering the price point of this car. I know it's not the cheapest small car, but hey, it's still pretty good in terms of what you're getting for your money, as I said earlier. But let's go through the bits that you need to know about the drive experience. And well, I mentioned earlier about the mild hybrid technology. So it's a 48-volt mild hybrid system, and it does have some kind of impact on your drive experience, because what it'll do is when you're slowing up to a standstill, it will basically cut the engine off and try and add some kinetic energy back to the battery pack and, well, save you fuel in theory. The strange part about that is it actually has a higher fuel consumption number than the previous model, which we'll get to shortly, but I still do think that this mild hybrid tech is largely inobtrusive in terms of the drive experience for this more generally. So just come to a bit of a halt here. Excuse that bloody noisy VE. And yeah, it's okay. It's not going to interrupt the drive too much. It will take a little bit of getting used to if you haven't had a dual clutch automatic transmission vehicle before. This does have a 7-speed dual clutch. They drive a little differently to some other auto cars, but it's actually a pretty good example of the technology, and it does have a little bit of lag to contend with occasionally, but it's not too bad, and it does pull very quickly from a standstill when you need it to. Although it should be noted that at times you can chirp the front tires when you're trying to get away from a standstill. That's one of the things that is pretty common across lots of Volkswagen Group products, so just be aware of that. It's worse in the wet too. It's got nice steering that's direct and accurate feeling, and like, I don't think it needs to be anything more than what is on offer here. It's pretty good in terms of the drivability. Feels, well, pretty sporty, I guess you might say. Certainly not as lazy feeling as some other small hatchbacks and sedans, and I actually really think that it does that thing well. And the ride comfort is great too, so it doesn't really do anything wrong in terms of the drive experience, and thankfully it also doesn't have any of the annoying safety systems to get on your nerves. So no bing bongs. That means it doesn't get it wrong. I like that about it. All right, let's talk fuel consumption. Okay, the official combined cycle fuel consumption figure for both the sedan and the hatchback is 5.3 litres per 100 k's. That's very low, but it's a little higher than the previous model. Not that that really matters, because, you know, those claimed numbers, you can take them with a grain of salt, essentially. If you're wondering what I've seen over my time driving this car, including the sort of stuff I'm doing today, urban, highway, freeway, mixed roads, everything that you might do with your A3, well, you'll see the number on screen. And I'm pretty impressed with that. I think it's a pretty efficient vehicle for this class, and yeah, it's actually really likable and really livable in a lot of different ways, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg when it comes to fuel. But you do need to fill it up with 95 RON premium unleaded, and it has a reasonably sized 50 litre fuel tank as well, so you should get good cruising range. In fact, it's showing 900 Ks till empty for me, so if you don't like going to the servo, you might like this car. The Audi A3 lineup still has a 5-star ANCAP safety rating from a few years ago, but it's valid for a couple more years, and it still has plenty of standard safety spec and tech to make you feel like you're getting a nice drive experience that isn't annoying with lots of bings and bongs. I like that about it. It's got autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. There's lane keeping assist, which is easy to turn off if you don't want it on. There's also adaptive cruise control and a traffic jam assist feature, so it can stop, start and steer for you in some situations if you want it to. And there's also things like a reversing camera, front and rear parking sensors, semi-autonomous parking, but you don't have things like speed sign recognition, which is actually a bonus in my opinion. And you also don't have a driver monitoring camera, another bonus in my mind. So it's a bit of a sweet spot when it comes to the active safety tech. And there's 7 airbags fitted too, dual front side, full length curtain coverage and a front center airbag to prevent head clashes in the event of a side impact. Safety? Yep. In Australia, Audi offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and the brand also has 5 years of roadside assistance included when you buy a new vehicle. Plus, there's the choice of a prepaid service plan if you want to. It's 5 years in duration too, and you can roll that cost into your finance repayments, and that means you just don't have to worry about budgeting for services in the future. And that can also be passed on to the next owner. And you can also get guaranteed future value for the Audi model range. If you go through their financial services offering, it means that basically you can set what the resale value will be in the future. Not bad. It might not be as affordable as it once was, but the Audi A3 is still a compelling choice for those looking for a luxury branded small car experience. This is lovely to drive, pretty easy to live with, and more practical than you might expect. So, would you choose it over all those alternatives I mentioned, or would you choose something else? Have your say in the comments. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.